This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hey there, it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more live around the world as usual. Talk4 Media, radio, TV, and podcasting. K4HD radio and podcasting. And streaming worldwide on womenontv.tv, iTunes 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and Women on TV. There we go. So with that, now we get that echo out the way. So I'm always looking forward to our shows. They're always exciting. They're always live, and you never know what's going on. It's been a big news day in general. I'm not even going to go into that because it's movie reviews and more. I want to focus on entertainment. So when we have a director like Zane on, or we have Nonstop Tyranny, she's in a new place with over 3 million views and counting. And we had the one and only Howard Wiggins from Nashville, Tennessee. And we've got JT, and I've been wanting to have him on for a while now. We met at Toy Fest, and we'll go into that in a minute. So JT, I never read notes. So I've got to read the notes on you because you've done a lot of things. And the fact that you reminded me that we met at LA Talk Radio, even though it wasn't there, I remember now. So, over 300 music videos, things that he's done, Zane Productions, that handles everything from production to film, post-productions, and everything like that. Anytime that you do anything with Kool and the Gang, or the Isley Brothers, or Marvel, you're okay in my book. So when it comes to things like that, I think that's great. And he's got a lot of other things he talks about too. And with this, so JT, it's all about marketing development, being that specialist that you are. And I call it Fun in Motion Toys, but they've got many other games and toys that are involved with that, which is what I like. I think that's exciting. So let's kick off with this. JT, let's go to you first, because we might have a little bit of lag. But talk about the company that's behind you. Talk about everything that you do. You being that juggler, you being that marketing development specialist, and why I like that company.
So, who is Fun in Motion? Who am I and who is Fun in Motion Toys? How are we related? So, my name's JT, Jonathan Taylor. I'm the market development specialist for Fun in Motion Toys. That means I go out and I pursue new and alternative markets where we're not currently selling any of our amazing toys. I'm also the face and spokesperson for the company. I got involved with them because I was more than anything impressed that they have spread more flow than anybody else on the planet. And I'm going to unpack that sentence just a little bit more. What I mean by that is they have shared the flow arts and the flow state with more people than anybody else that I've been able to find. The flow arts kind of delineate and describe a couple of different dance and art forms, like poi spinning, which is a ball on the end of a string. You have one in each hand, and you do different simple or more complex patterns. And about 8 years ago, I started a company called Spread the Flow, and we focus on doing big events for catered venues or birthday parties or nursing homes or summer camps, anywhere that we can get a big group of people together and teach them how to spin poi or teach them how to juggle. So I got involved with Fun in Motion 8 years ago. I was buying product from them at wholesale to teach big workshops, big groups of people how to do these art forms. As a therapeutic modality, I actually went and pursued an education as a nurse so that people would take me more seriously when I said that this kind of stuff is good for you. I'm not just some hairy hippie jumping out of the woods saying, spin these balls, it'll make you happier. Hi, my name is Jonathan Taylor. I'm a registered nurse, and I'd like to talk to you about the complementary alternative therapy that utilizes movement, coordination, timing, and direction to help improve your quality of life. So that's a bit about me, who I am, what do I do, what do I stand for. I'm trying to get as many people into that flow state, that state of timeless, effortless clarity as possible. Fun in Motion Toys was started with just spinballs, and it started because this product did not exist when the owners were looking for it 12 years ago. There was no good, affordable, beginner, entry level toy ball that somebody could purchase to then practice with. So the founders decided, well, we're going to make our own, and thus Spinballs was born. Spinballs is the name of the product, and then they started adding more cool toys to the line, different things like the Mosey and the Glowsy and the LED, another more products into the LED line, and then that really took off about 3 years ago when they decided to pick up Shishibo. The Shishibo is a magnetic shape-shifting puzzle cube that makes over 100 different shapes. It could go from like a cube to a crown, or the crown could be a star. The star could be a hive, or that hive could be a UFO. The UFO could turn into a ball. Every cube makes over 70 different shapes. And then those shapes and those cubes can combine together. You can collect and connect to build bigger and cooler structures. Like I could take this ball and put the cube inside of it, make the cube disappear inside of the ball, or take both of them and weave the cube into the ball, just like that. So this toy ended up becoming the #1 toy on Amazon, and now we're doing worldwide distribution, and it's been a really exciting, really wild ride. I've been with the company myself for almost a year now as their market development specialist, and now also the face of Shishibo. This company, we provide toys that get you up and moving and engaging with the world around you in new and unique ways that hopefully inspire creativity and make somebody smile. It's about as short as I could keep it, but that's who I am, and that's who Fun in Motion is.
And Zane, when you have somebody like that, and with the background and things that you've been doing and still are doing, I think that's fascinating when I see something like that. Or maybe when you see something like that, because the director in you is always looking for new and fascinating things. And when you can work for UFC or anything like that, Adidas, Marvel, talk about how you started, because you come a long way in a short period about of time, it sounds like.
Yeah, I only started. I feel like I've been around for so long, but I did start officially in 2015. And yeah, I've worked with a lot of great companies, small and big. And whenever I see something that might look a bit eccentric or too unique, I always think of how can we make this accessible? And the only way we can do that is to kind of find something that people are familiar with and try to link it to that. And then we go off of that and gradually build the brand story in order to make it relatable to people. That's the only way you can get people to sort of understand what a new product or a new service or a new app might be, is to tap into a little bit of a nostalgic element and be like, oh, this is the new so-and-so, introduce it that way, and then go off and mention all of the other new stuff, whether it's through lifestyle or just demos, so that's how I usually approach a lot of unique new products or services as a director.
And with your production company, you got my attention there because I don't know if you're a rep by anybody except for Holly, who I adore right now, but I can relate to that, not having that agent, not having that management, doing everything by yourself. It's not easy to do all of these stuff these days and to be where you are now. My hat goes off to you, and congratulations on that, because that's not easy. Talk about that.
Oh, thank you. I think now it's easier than ever. Before, you had to know someone in order to achieve certain things, but thanks to the internet, social media, digital marketing, it's easier than ever to be self-discovered. And I remember when I first started in 2015, 16, and 17, all I wanted was to find a representative, to find someone to rep me who's going to be out there doing, spreading the word about me or talking, singing my praises. And I was contacted by a couple of people, but then I realized that eventually I started doing better than a lot of the people that they're repping, mainly because I put on a business hat. So, which I don't like. I mean, no creative loves to do business. And 90% of what I do is business, 10% is creativity. And it's kind of sad, but it's the only way that I can feed the 10%. So I just ended up, teaming up with a really good lawyer. And that's pretty much it. Like, you just need a really good lawyer and then invest a lot in marketing. And that's how I'm doing it without any reps.
Congratulations on that, because that's important. All right, so David, I've been waiting for him to come on for a while. I always love having David Bonner on here. I kind of call him part of the family. So JT, you saw him on the cruise ship. He's the reason why we kind of entered into the toy business. I never saw that coming. It was always about talking about those black inventors, those people who are big, who have black inventors got game, and we had them on our show, and I still want to have them come back and tell more about their stories, which is very, very important for movie reviews and more. But when you're that speaker, you're that Gen Xer, not Gen Xer. Well, yeah, David is a Gen Xer, but
I'm a proud Gen Xer, brother. I'm a proud Gen Xer.
Exactly. You got to get that out there. So when you're that toy designer, you've also worked with Marvel. You've also worked with creating your own figurines and things like that. And you got your own company now and about ready to start your own podcast. Talk about the things that you're doing and what was it like being on a cruise ship. And you met JT. And so when I first met JT at Toy Fest, I was telling David about it. And then David goes, yeah, I met that dude on the cruise ship. I liked him.
Yeah, well, I've been in the toy business for over 25 years now. So from designing, developing, concepting, and it's funny like how Zane said that that he doesn't really focus on the business part. Honestly, that is to the detriment of the creator. From the moment you get something, an idea out of your body, you have to think of that as a vehicle for your business, no matter what it is, whether it's a line, whether it's a song, whether it's a sound, whether anything, it's coming from you. So from that point on, you're generating something as a machine. You're putting down an intellectual property. So, but being in the business, I had to learn to understand that. I had to learn to understand how the economics of creativity goes. And that's really been my mission now. I mean, I've developed, when it comes to product, everything under the sun. I've worked with all the companies I ever wanted to, dream about and imagine to work with. Hasbro, Marvel, Mattel. I worked on products that I can only dream about. I'm part of Marvel's DNA. But what I found out is that actually teaching the economics of creativity is something that throughout history, a lot of artists just don't understand, and it's something that is their Achilles heel. So what I do with our company, my wife and I, not only do we develop product from the pre-production stage, but carry it into the post-production stage, and also whoever it is that we're working with, we guide our client through the entire process so they understand, because it's more so than just coming on the idea and making it. Now you have to figure out how you have to deal with a factory. You have to figure out how to get your product from the factory floor into the boat, into the truck, into the stores. Like, a lot of people don't even think about that. A lot of people would just think about, having a trademark, but don't even know anything about, how to protect their IP and how to spin their IP from making it into a character to having an overall business like Disney. A lot of see that, but as a creative, you have that in you. You have that power in you to take something from nothing and turn it into something vast. So with Walk Global LA, with all the experience that I have, my wife is also, she has experience starting businesses. She's a serious financial head, and we just combine our forces, my creativity and my business, her business and her creativity, and we've found a way to mesh and excel even more in the product development field.
So JT and Zane, I'm going to come back to you in a minute. I gotta definitely introduce you to obviously Terry Marie. She's my number one co-host, and Howard Wiggins from Nashville, Tennessee. I actually put Howard above me because he's fascinating to me. I haven't found a guy like him in a long time, and he allows me to kind of take a back seat, and I really really like that. So with over 3 million views and counting, she's been with me for the longest. It's 8 years now and counting. Terry.
Yep.
Terry, tell them who you are, followed by Howard.
I am Terry Marie, and I am a entertainment host. I've been doing red carpet interviews with Brian for over 8 years, as Brian has said. Fitness personality. I've won several fitness competitions. I'm trying to get back on stage. I'm still working out every day. So I always want to inspire women to, stay fit. I'm a Gen X myself, and I'm very proud of it. And it makes us, I think it makes us go-getters. It was kind of funny with you guys talking about toys and sales and business and, mental health. I have a degree in psychology. I've been in healthcare sales since college. Also, I'm an artist. I'm actually at my dad's passed away. And I'm helping my mom at my mom's house here. But it's so funny because my dad worked for Disney for 35 years. And this house is just full of Disney toys and like just classic Disney. My dad ran the printing department. So I'm finding all these unique treasures. So I'll have to like showcase some of the stuff I'm finding because I could do a whole show on some of the stuff that's like in this house just from Disney.
It's like being in a time machine. It's like being in the time machine.
It's crazy because I grew up in this house. My parents bought this house. Oh, I'm having an echo. I'm sorry, but my parents bought this house. I grew up here. And it's just crazy, like coming in here and all the memories and stuff. But my dad just got some amazing. My dad was an artist too, so he's got some amazing artwork here. That's where I get my art, my desire to paint and to draw. And I'm finding old artwork I did as a kid. It's really kind of neat, when you actually get into it and start looking at the stuff and where you came from and how you evolved. If that makes any sense. So. Anyway, that's just a little bit about what's about me.
And she forgot she has over 3 million views and counting just by being with us and doing interviews. All right, so Howard Wiggins, let's talk about Howard. Howard lives in a mansion, really. I believe it, even though I haven't been there yet. He's always in a different room. Zane, you might find it interesting because he has this video. He's got over 165,000 views, and it's only 9 seconds. It was something that I just took and I put it up on YouTube Shorts, and it continues still to this day. Just like I thought JT is interesting, Howard is really interesting. Howard, tell them who you are and what you're doing in Nashville, Tennessee.
It was with
Howard,
Randall Opry. He
played
still guitar for Eddie Arnold. Let's see. I'm doing a movie called Who's Going to Take Care of Me that I'll be filming in Hollywood pretty soon. I love to dance. In fact, when I saw JT spinning balls, I could just imagine me on the dance floor doing that and getting the lights and action all going on, and I could move those things around, I'm sure. So, but I like to make people happy. I like to live happy. I like to live healthy. And I realized in about 5 months I'll be turning 70, and I can't believe it that it's going to happen that soon. But anyway, but I hope to look as good as I do in 70 as I did at 60.
You will. You got that youthful spirit. Yeah. And so Zane, when I'm talking about this, I remember I had to beg Segway to give me their Lumo, which I rode the hell out of that thing. I was one of the first people in the world to get it, and it's because they didn't give me any attention. How did you find those big companies like that and working with Marvel? What was your experience? Because again, I just see you kind of going in and just blazing and just taking it and doing it your own, making it your own, sort of like what JT is doing there, being market development specialist, for fun and motion and toys, and then what David's been, how he came out with his, coming from his background, because it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I've shot over 300 videos. Cumulative, I think online I have over 1.5 billion views on all of the videos. So it's kind of easy for people to sort of find me. And Segway, they got in touch with me after they saw a couple of my presentation videos, because the way that I like to do my presentation videos is not just having a screen like this and then we cut to some slides. I like to do something a little bit more. So we did a video wall, and then we showcased some of their new products for their press day in 2022. This was last year. But yeah, they got in touch with me. They wanted to do something a little bit different. And we put together that production, my team and I think in 2 weeks, and we had it delivered in less than a week. They really wanted to move fast. And that's how that project came about. In terms of how other clients find me, yeah, I mean, when I first started, even my first video did very well and started getting a lot of views. And from that, people started finding me. And then one video led to another video. It's, I feel very fortunate in a lot of ways that the algorithm gods love me, I guess, because that's how my business has grown. It's all digital. It's more videos out there, bring more videos. So that's how it happened.
And that makes a lot of sense. And then JT, going back to you, obviously, we've got to show this video because I found him fascinating, Terry and Howard and David and Zane, because he was wearing this top hat. And Howard he looks good in any hat. Obviously, he is our hat guy, our official hat guy, which is why we have Huck hats now. But I saw JT, and JT, I don't go anywhere without my ball now, and I can actually do 2 balls, even though I only got one of your glow-in-the-dark ones. So if you remember when I was at Toy Fest, and I said he only gave me 1 ball, it's because I had to work to get this 1 ball. I haven't gotten the second one yet, David, because I'm working on it, because I didn't have enough time to learn how to juggle 2 balls. So, but I'm getting there. I'm getting better at that. And I've gone cross-country with it, JT, no matter where I go.
I gotta say that makes me really happy, So, and just for the rest of the group to get a little bit of backstory on that. If there's anything, I'm extremely passionate about a lot of things. I'm a really passionate person, but if there's one clear-cut, concrete purpose I've found myself on this planet, it's to teach people how to juggle. Anybody can learn to juggle. Nobody is born juggling, but anybody can learn to juggle. So Brian and I had an agreement that if he could learn to juggle, he could have 3 balls. And it was the last day of the trade show, and I won't make any excuses for anyone around anything. And I
gotta say, he made me work for it, and I respected that. He goes, "You can leave with none, or you could take 1." And I said, "That's pretty cool." So I took my 1 ball and I ran with it. Let's show that video, TJ.
Everybody's hands, every size. Same thing, USB rechargeable, charges up in 90 minutes.
All right, and then he's got another one, which I really like. It's the clip of everything that's put together, which I found fascinating. And Howard, if I have to get on my knees, I'm going to see if I can get JT to send you one, because I can see you dancing with that.
I'd like to tell a little story around that video if we have time for it. And
go for it.
The short story around that video. First off, no exaggeration, me and my team taught 80% or more of the people that you saw spinning with different props in that video. And the backstory to all of that is I started this kind of event that we call a flow jam. It's where I bring 20 to 30 sets of whatever, of juggling balls, of toy. I bring some hoops, I bring some staves, I bring spinning plates. I bring the circus to a venue. whether it's a coffee shop or a kava bar or a brewery. I touched on that earlier. And we're radically engaging. Imagine me kicking open the door of the place, blowing a conch shell and saying, everybody in here can learn to juggle. I'm here to teach everybody. There's a free juggling class outside in 5 minutes. You right over there, you got a pretty girl with you. She's going to leave you if you don't learn to juggle. I'm telling you, man, you gotta if you're single, it's because you don't juggle. Whatever I gotta say, just get people out there to come spin with it, to come play with us. So that event in particular, I've been doing those events now, these flow jams, for like 8 years myself. That's just my own personal drive. I have 4 or 5 people that do them for me now between Miami and Orlando. And that event that we took a video of was a one take of all of the Fun in Motion products, but we invited everybody to come shoot the video with us. Anyone that participated got a free toy out of it. And so we had over 100 people show up that were just from this little community that I've been creating over the last, I don't know, almost decade now. So we had over 100 people show up to celebrate Fun in Motion Toys' success, to help showcase their products. And it was all shot at a kava bar. And kava, if you guys don't know, is an alcohol alternative. It's drinking in the Polynesian islands. It's a central nervous system relaxant. It's not inebriating. It just kind of helps you chill out a little bit. So it's a good place to do these kinds of activities where you don't have to worry about a loss of inhibition or a loss of coordination. So we showed up at a kava bar in Fort Pierce, Florida, where I grew up, and shot this awesome one-take video. And we taught, like I said, 80% or more of that crowd from the ground up over the years. And they came up and showed face. So I'm really proud of my community for that one.
Very cool.
It's a great video. So Zane, when you see something like that, have you had any of those things in any of your videos yet?
Yeah, not the exact same product, but we've used something similar for Kool and the Gang's video, the last one that I did for them. And we had these big balls that were LEDs, and they changed color, and we had them around the pool area. We had them around, it was a pool party. It was like a Sunday pool party. And we had these balls, and they changed color, and we had them around the pool. It kind of reminds me of that. They're not the exact same, but that's what I think of when I see those. Obviously, these are more portable. The other cool ones we used were kind of big and heavy, and we had people moving them around.
So, David, when you see something like that, you saw him on the cruise ship for Astro's event, and I wanted to know what you thought about that, and then what's coming up with you. And since you and Zane have both worked for Marvel, I'd like to hear both of your experiences.
Yeah, well, first of all, with JT, he touched on something that was pretty, that is something that's very important. He touched on community, and in the pop culture community is more so than just toys. It's filmmakers, it's model makers, it's retailers, and that's one of the things that since I've been in this, I've always built these relationships outside of just toys and building pop culture relationships, like just with everybody. And that's one of the central things of our business, of our podcast, of basically my creative walk, is to branch out and extend relationships with all the different creative types to build a network, like a circle of wax amongst ourselves. Because when you take all the different facets of pop culture, we can sustain ourselves economically. We have content generators, we have everything, music makers, artists. It's so vast, it's countless. And what it is everyone tries to go after the big major companies to try to find some type of traction or life. And it's like, you don't need that, in my opinion. In my opinion, you can deal with the independents that surround you and build up that network and treat them just as you would treat a major. So if someone has a small mom and pop shop, treat them like a Target or Walmart. If someone's a small independent filmmaker, treat them like Spielberg, like figure out what characters can be licensed out and make properties out of that, So, and that was actually something that I acquired, that knowledge from Marvel. When I got on Marvel, it was in the gutter. Like what Marvel is right now is nowhere near what it was when I got there at the end of, the 1990s and in the beginning of 2000. It was in the trash. It was a lot of bad financial mistakes. And so when it was brought up out of bankruptcy, publishing wasn't, the main central economic driver. Ike Perlmutter, when he bought the business, he owned toy business, and by him buying the business, he put the toy business on top. The toy guys were on top, and with that, we had the movie guys with us. We had the publishing guys, animators, video games, but it was all inspired by the toys, because the toys are a form of entertainment, and that's how we approached it. And with that spawned, rebranding the characters, treating them like almost like athletes, like treating the characters like athletes. Marvel's the agent. We're going to plug them in everywhere. And that was kind of like the approach. And during that time, that's how Marvel found success. But what it really showed us was how to be scrappy, how to build relationships, how to take a brand that was once and held in high regard, totally stripped down, was worthless, and then figure out how to make it even bigger and better than where it was. So it was a whole process, really, that was extended out of our own love and passion of the brand. We all read comic books. We were all fans of Marvel. And it was like, this is beyond a paycheck. This is beyond some clout. Like, we don't want this to be the laughing stock of the world, right? So it's like, what can we do creative to pull this out of the muck and mire and bring it back to what we know it is? So, with that, I'm proud now to see where all aspects of the Marvel brand is, in film and product and clothing and music, just as a pop culture entity. And to know that, when it was at its worst, it was the toys that brought that back out of that and spawned all these different aspects of why the brand has so much traction, why the brand is so important, and how it can take it to a whole nother trajectory. So yeah, that is learning all that, being a part of all that. It's like, we can do this with almost anything, or at least teach the blueprint, teach the pattern of how you can take your brand or your whatever it is to that level.
Zane, talk about Zane Productions, why that's important, and what was your experience like when you were working on, I'm not sure what it was that you did with Marvel, but I'd be curious what it was.
Ironically, so I've worked with them a couple of times, but the first time I worked with Marvel was for the Iron Man MK50 robot. It was a little robot, a very expensive robot. And then we created a lifestyle video around that robot. We were mainly targeting dads. That's where they found the market was mainly the market that was interested in those toys. It wasn't little kids, because it's a very sophisticated toy that is also integrated with artificial intelligence, 360 virtual reality, and then it's linked to an app. Feel free to Google it, Marvel MK50 robot. It's also on my website. But yeah, the first time I worked with them, my experience with them was I was thrilled to be working with Marvel. I think that was my first major break in 2015, and after that, my career just, took on a whole different turn. It's very corporate, a lot of cooks in the kitchen. It's like coordinating with, I think it was like 6 different departments. So for me, I was overwhelmed the first time I worked with them. But, fast forward a few years later, back to last month, I delivered a project with them for Ant-Man. It felt very different because I understood that whenever you're working with a client as big as Marvel, you have to be very flexible to work with 6 different departments, including legal. As a creative, you would never think that you're going to bump into certain creative differences or creative decisions with legal, but that's what happens on these projects. So I went from being, completely shocked by, oh my goodness, why are we talking about this? I never thought I would be looking at something like that as a director, you know, back in 2019 to now, just having a very just seamless conversation with, oh yeah, let's make sure we get the clearances for this particular shot that has so-and-so visual effects. So that has been my short experience in terms of how I started with Marvel to like now understanding the system of creating content for a big client like that.
You know, it's
David, you were laughing. Why were you
Yeah,
laughing,
it's funny.
David?
It's funny that you mentioned that because, you know, when I was at Marvel didn't have a system, right? They didn't have a system, and the systems had to be developed over time, you know, with different people coming to practice and play. But it was so, like, the company was so unorthodox at the time, and it was really carried over from the 60s and the 70s where, you know, they really didn't have, like, they didn't even have a true marketing department. Like, that's how different and almost antiquated the company really was at that time, like all the way up until
They
like
sure
literally
do have a
2001.
very intense one right now.
Now it's very much a marketing led company, which is intertwined with legal, because every aspect of the way Disney is guaranteeing and ensuring their intellectual property, they want to protect that to the nth degree, right? But at the same time, a lot of the, like I said, a lot of the business acumen that I learned from that by being in those shark waters. When people hear the word toy, they automatically have fun thoughts. A lot of people don't know how the toy process. They just think that they show up on a shelf or Santa Claus drops them off. But it's actually one of the most cutthroat businesses in the world, and you're actually going through almost every aspect of design, you know, of manufacturing a product. You're going through everything. You have to deal with everything from music to lawyers to different creatives. You're dealing with imaginatives. You're dealing with creatives. You're dealing with so many different aspects of the business, and then salespeople, retailers. You know, it really encompasses every aspect of the business cycle. And I think one of the things that's really taken for granted, where Marvel really had to come in from a space where they had no business acumen in a way, or a very antiquated business acumen, to now where they really lead the charge of how pop culture business is maintained and curated now. It's a whole 360-degree turn where the company is.
Hey, Howard, talk about what room you're in and what you're wearing, because it's all about Howard being dapper and everything with that hat and everything. And also, DJ, I want to show his video after he's done speaking, please.
Okay, it's my upstairs hallway. I've got some new artwork on the wall that I've replaced right above the cat. And then I wanted to tell Zane to watch the Jack White video where What's the Trick? It got 3 million views where I'm dancing on top of a bed. About halfway through the video, and I'm shown 3 times. And then I've done some other type videos too. And then back to JT, when I walked in, I had my costumes because I got a lot of them anyway to do the thing, and I had a black cowboy hat on. And they had me dance on the bed, and there was this disco ball with the changing colors. And I said, I've got a silver hat in the car. Let me go change it out, because as I'm dancing, my hat can change colors. So that's what I did. So, and then at the end, they wanted me to sit on the bed and act like I was tired. And I said, I'm never tired dancing. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just fall backwards, and my hat fell over my eyes, and they got that in there. But they didn't show me falling. I wish they did. But it just shows me after I fall. But, you know, life takes you all different kinds of ways. So if you got anything for me, I'm ready for it.
Hey, DJ, let's show that real clip of him.
Top-notch moves.
Now that's how
I've
it
got
being
some
just
faster
smooth right
videos too
there.
where I dance
But
with
no,
Millie.
he really dances where he's sweating. He could, I swear, he could probably dance for 6 hours. I think he has.
I can.
But yeah, see, he can. So that's what makes him interesting. And Terry, what's it like being in that in back at home with all that memorabilia around you? Because I actually want to see it one day. I
Oh
can only
no,
imagine
no,
what's there.
no. As I said, we're talking about toys and stuff, and I was just going through some old stuff. Do you guys remember the animal from the Muppets? And
Oh
that when
yeah,
I was a kid,
his name
I,
is
I found
Animal.
the animal puppet, and I found Miss Piggy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had these as a kid. So
Wow.
I don't know. It was
Miss Piggy. My mom loved Miss Piggy, and I played drums because of Animal.
Yes.
That's dope.
So, but I mean, everybody knows I do some TikTok dancing too. So, now I get settled, I'm going to start doing some more of those videos. And I'm also in a video that's 2 videos for Wicked Star. So my forte is more 80s and 90s hairband stuff. So I like to do that. But yeah, so yeah, Brian, I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about going forward with memorabilia stuff.
Hey, JT, why should people come and buy anything that's Fun in Motion Toys? Because they got some great stuff. I just don't think enough people know about them outside of your toy world.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to always have you on if I can to expose you because you got some great stuff. Mm-hmm. When I walked by that booth, I found them fascinating. Not only did they stick out, they were showing. Did you just tell they all liked each other? And when I saw them dancing at, I think it was Zonk nightclub, I thought it was fascinating. I couldn't take my eyes off those spinning, glow-in-the-dark balls. They were in the corner near the disc jockey. That's all I cared about. And I even went over there. I felt like a fly on the wall behind them. They just had a fun time just being themselves, and I like that.
I think if I could say it, I mean, I could go on and on about like what makes our product so great, but I think I would double down on, why does every single one of Fun in Motion Toys, every single one of the Fun in Motion Toys products, in one way or another, provides an access point into the flow state, into a state of play, and it's not the state of play that is a passive kind of play. Our toys require you to engage with it and the world around you to get some sort of feedback, to create a relationship. You could just move this cube aimlessly, but eventually, even just manipulating it aimlessly, you're going to end up with a shape. And those shapes may even, as you continue to explore through them, you may find that those shapes go together and they magnetize together. And then you may find, oh my gosh, well, this shape, it actually has functionality. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that spinning on the table there? So that's one of the products, but I would say that every single one, as a nurse, I would argue that play is probably one of the most important and undervalued therapies. And as adults, we don't give ourselves permission to play. We wait for some external force to appear in our lives and say it's okay. But these toys provide that different sort of play that also inspires creativity. Everything in our line is unlike anything you've ever seen anywhere else. When's the last time you saw a magnetic shape-shifting cube anywhere? When's the last time you saw? And everything is developed with a lot of deep intent behind it. Like these LED juggling balls, they were developed with the world's best juggler, arguably. His name is Wes Peden. He's the Tony Hawk of juggling. He's won the world juggling competition, which I bet you didn't even know existed. You learned something else. He wins it every year he cares to compete. So we developed this ball in collaboration with him. We're always searching out the experts in whatever field we decide to dive into to get their input to make the best, most satisfying toy that we possibly can. It sets people up for success to enter that flow state. So
give you social media links too.
What's that?
Give you social media links also.
I will. Yep. You can find us at Fun in Motion Toys on Facebook, Instagram. We're funinmotiontoys.com. And Instagram, it's also official Shishibo.
Terry Marie, social media links.
Terry Marie Nonstop on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then my website where I've got a lot of my hosting interviews, which I'm going to add some more, is terrymariaofficial.com.
David Vanna, what do you got coming up in social media links before we head out?
Oh man, I have so much stuff coming out. The new podcast for the culture that's coming out on YouTube. Working with I got a top secret project that is going to be really, really fun with a particular city on the East Coast. So I'm very thrilled about that. And I also write for Toy Collector Magazine for the culture. That's our column in there. I also write for Toy Times Magazine, the big spotlight. You can find me in there. And, on social media, David Vonner on Instagram, David Vonner on Facebook, David Vonner on LinkedIn. You can find me. I'm your friend.
Howard Wiggins.
Howard Wiggins Facebook, plain and simple. You can see me dancing. You can see everything I'm doing in life. And like I said, if you're into fashion, into design, into music, into all kinds of fun activity, just follow me.
Zane, you get the last word. What's got coming up in social media links?
I wish I could talk about the stuff coming out. I had a lot of stuff recently come out, but you can find everything online. Just look up Director Zane, I guess. That's it.
And the last thing about all this, I want to thank everybody for coming on, because it's technology is great when it works. Not so great when it doesn't work. We've all experienced something bad, but also this is the great thing about getting everybody together. So I want to thank everybody from Vonner, JT, you're coming back. Zane, I'd love to have you back, especially when you have any projects, because I like what you're doing. I've seen some things, but I really admire what you're doing. And I forgot until you mentioned that we had Mint. So I hope I was nice to you, because I never want to disrespect anybody. You just never know where anybody's going to be. Howard is always great. Howard is the dapper guy of everybody. And Terry, thank you so much for being you. And I say this, have a good night tonight, a better day tomorrow. If you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. This is Movie Reviews and More. I'm Brian Sebastian, and we will see you next week.